Right. So, okay. All right, sir. Yeah. Let's get started. So, we're going to start with introduction to Python programming. And I believe, meanwhile, like all of you would have installed Anaconda, right? And I hope I'm properly audible to all of you, right? You can let me know in chat box if I'm audible properly, right? So, yeah, that's great. I feel I'm audible. Great. Okay, so let's start. So mainly Python programming. So let's say that what is that we're gonna see in Python programming. So you see, any programming language has four important pillars, or you can say that four important superheroes in programming language. The first important superhero in any programming language is the data type. So when you are learning with any new programming language, important thing to learn is the data type in that programming language, right? And second important pillar in any programming language is control structure. That's the if else, for, and while loop, right? So second important thing to know in any programming language is how to use if else, how to use for and while. Third important superhero or pillar in any programming language is defining user defined functions. How to define functions, how to create your own functions. And the last and the most important one is object-oriented programming, the OOPS concept of that programming language. These are the only four important programming language in every programming. These are the only four important concepts in every programming language. Some other programming language like Python has packages as well, how to use packages, or you can say library. Like if you have used C, so in C we use something like studio.h and conio.h. Similarly, like in Python also you have some packages to use, right? So first we'll be starting with one by one. We'll be starting with in this programming language learning about what are the different data types available, and which will help you out to declare different variables and to know different properties of them. Second, we'll start with learning about control structure, if else, while, for, and third, defining functions, and fourth, object oriented programming. You need not to be expert into OOPS actually. To get started with Python, you need to know a little bit idea of it, and then you can, as soon as you see more programs, as soon as you get to work with more programs, you will get expertise, you will develop the expertise into that, right? So let's get started with this, right? So these are the things that we'll be looking into Python so far in a basic go of Python. And second, we'll have the second shift of Python, in which we'll be looking into Python mainly for data science, machine learning, and AI, and different other DevOps and IoT. Like what are the different packages used for IoT analytics or data science and other. So those different packages, once we have idea of those packages, or you can say libraries, we will be good with Python. You can start doing almost anything. You can start working with DevOps, you can start working with IoT or machine learning, Python, deep learning, AI applications, anything, right? So let's get started. All right, so in first section, module one by one, we're gonna go ahead and start with the idea of getting started with Python, work with integers, string, logical, complex, and different operators and basic operators. Let's see that first. So first question, who uses Python? So almost more than 80% of the companies across the world, they use Python. The reason of using Python is it's robust, it's open source. The very first reason, it's open source. When something is open source, it's free, and you can say a lot of good community support you get in Python. Another point is like when there are so many programming languages, when you have so many programming language, right? So then also Python was developed. We'll talk about that. So for first thing, what exactly is Python? It's a simple programming language. And the best part of Python compared to other programming languages is the simplicity of Python. It's very simple. It's one of the world's easiest programming language, considered by many of the people involved, right? Including me as well. And the best part is the elegant syntaxing. In Python, in order to like remember this belongs to that, this belongs to that, like that, every syntax itself shows its own meaning. So just by looking at the syntax, you can say that what it can be used for or where you can use it. And that's the best part of Python, actually. Easy to write, easy to program, no complex rules, no rules actually. There are very less rules in Python, almost negligible, and only a couple of important rules to learn in Python. And other than that, you don't have much of the rules in Python, like semicolon every time you put, nothing like that. When there are so many programming language, why Python? I mean, there were existing programming languages, why Python, right? So why people use Python more? The reason is that Python is simple. Python actually was developed for people who are not from programming background, and that has made the people who started learning programming from last 10 years, for them it was so easy programming language compared to Java and C. plus plus and C and different other, because those are sort of complex programming languages, and everything that you can do there you can do in Python, and that too easy way, and that has attracted a lot of people across the world, and that's had attracted them to develop some complex system with Python. Second point is it's open source, it's portable, it runs almost everywhere on every platform. Whether you want to do web development, whether you want to do game development, Python is used for web development as well. Django and Flask are some frameworks of Python which are used for web development. Python is also used, very highly used, for game development. It's used for programming the hardware like Raspberry Pi or something. It's used for artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, data analytics. It is used for software development, desktop application development. It is used for network programming, TCP, UDP, socket programming, HTTP, SMTP, different email networks, networking. So it's like something like programming language. It finds application everywhere, and that has made people use it very vigorously, you can say, and that has made Python one of the first choice of people across the world, data scientists or developers, network programmers, all of them, because it's easy and you know what's happening. That's the best part of it. So these are a couple of reasons why Python, right? So it's open source, it's object oriented, it supports all the OOPS concept, it's free, and it's easy to learn, easy to go ahead, and for me it's easy to teach, even the easiest programming language. That's the reason I use this one. And one of the best part of Python is like you get a lot of built-in tools. It's like, why do you like Android is because you get a lot of Android apps. Anything that you look for, Android app is available for that. That's the reason we like Android. That's the reason I personally like Android. And the reason why these all companies use Android is because Android is simple. I mean, you see number of manufacturers, they use Android. Whether you talk about MI, you talk about Samsung, you talk about Oppo or Vivo, any XYZ smart, new to older smartphones. Even Nokia started using Android as well. The reason is because Android is simple, user friendly, and it's open source, it's free. And the way it has adapted the market, the same way Python is there in programming world. So you can say Python is kind of Android of programming world. And because of its easiness, because of user friendliness, because of its being free, a lot of people across the world have started using it, are using it. Here you can see the syntax comparison. In Java, if you have print hello world, like this, three syntaxes you have to write, whereas in Python you simply go ahead and write print hello world. So only one syntax, and there you go, and it says you that okay, this is how it is used. Just by looking at print, you can say that okay, it is used to print something up, right? No need to understand that okay, static void man is what exactly is that, system dot out dot println, why is that system and dot out or something like that. I mean, you don't need to go that deeper for basic things. That's the best part of it. And so you start with easiest part. That's the best part of Python, and then you can dive deeper into more complex structures. There are currently two versions of Python. Actually, when Python started up, it was Python 2.x, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, and there were a lot of mistakes in Python, bugs in Python 2.x. But by the time the developers and the team who would develop Python, they come up with 3.x. 2.2x was widely adopted. Google and a couple of other companies have started using that, and that's the reason they couldn't took it off. So they developed 3.x, they released 3.x, but they started the enhancement in 2.8, and still you get two stable versions of Python, 2.x and 3.x. Both are stable, and it's estimated, people say that in future 2.x will be deprecated as soon as a lot of people and majority of them adapt 3.x. That's just estimation, not at all official statement released by Python. So a lot of people, a lot of geeks across the world, the older geeks, they still use Python 2.x, but a number of people who are new and who start using Python, they use 3.x. Number of libraries you get in 3.x and 2.x are almost similar. Yeah, up to some extent. Sometimes what happens is on 2.x you get more libraries which are not always available in 3.x, but the libraries that you generally need, for example in IoT or in applications, those are all available in 2.x. Sorry, 3.x. So we're going to use 3.x, right? So 3.x is considered as the present and future of Python, so that's the reason we're going to use 3.x. Talking about differences in 2.x and 3.x, what is the difference in Python 2 and Python 3? So it's in the basic difference is syntaxes. You see, only some syntaxes are updated in 3, and you can say that 85 to 90% of Python in Python 2 and Python 3 is all same. One of the difference you can find is the print. In Python 2, print is not a function, it's a statement. So you don't use bracket while printing anything. In Python 3, you need to use bracket. Bracket is a necessity. So it's a function in which you pass some argument like that. So in Python 3, it's a function, print is a function. In Python 2, it's a simple statement. That's one of the difference, right? And On that, there are a couple of them. The name of libraries, couple of like that has changed up. Couple of more we'll be looking into, but generally 85% to 90%, almost 90% of the code will be always same in Python 2 and Python 3. Only the print statement will somewhere change, somewhere only library name will change, like that. Nothing more than that. Installing Python, probably I believe all of you would have already installed by downloading Anaconda. So you can go to anaconda.com, right? So and you would have already downloaded Python, that. So there you get stable versions. See, now, when I ask Python why Anaconda, there is also Python version available on python.org. What is the difference? So you see, as Python is open source, there are a lot of flavors of Python available. The original Python is available always at python.org. Now here you can download Python original 3.6 and 3.2.7. These are the two latest versions. And Anaconda is a flavor of Python. Flavor in the sense the original Python is there. Along with that, some more libraries are added. So the syntax, whatever Python syntax and coding you do in Anaconda, or you do in Python IDE, or there is also PyCharm, or there is something else as well. In all those IDEs, there are 10, 20 IDEs, very popular IDEs for Python. You will get same coding. I mean, there's no difference in coding. The only difference is the environment, the kind of IDE, the visual user interface changes, and also libraries. Like in core Python, you don't get basic machine learning or data science related libraries pre-installed, whereas those libraries are pre-installed in Anaconda. That makes Anaconda one of the one-stop package and one of the first choice of data scientists across the world to use Anaconda version of Python. People also use PyCharm as well. PyCharm and Anaconda are the two popular one. So which one will be using Anaconda? Now Anaconda is a package. Into that you have Spider, which is the IDE. There is a Jupyter, which is the web-based IDE. Both are IDEs for programming Python. A little different both are, but syntaxing is all same. Only the interface changes. So let's get started, and now let's start with Python. Understand that what exactly is that and how to work with that, right? So here I'm going to go ahead and start with the Spider, right? So I'm going to use Spider IDE first, and later on we'll also be using Jupyter Notebook, understanding that how is the difference between Spider and Jupyter Notebook. So Spider, you can search if you install Anaconda. Need to simply search for Spider. It will be available in your Windows menu. Click on that, and here we go. Let it open. Just a moment, let my kernel start. All right, let me close all the stuff. All right, so here we go. Now this is the Python interface. By default, you might find the IPython console is open. There is also a Python console as well, like this. Right, there's IPython console. Now this is the core Python console, and this is the IPython console, which is customized by Anaconda, interactive Python console. IPython means interactive Python. You might see somewhere IPython console, interactive Python. There's a history log which shows the history of whatever codes you have run, like MATLAB. And there's a variable explorer where you can see all the variables declared. Help window you have, file explorer you have, like that. So all the windows you have. I hope I'm audible, right? So it's not. So let's start, right? So we'll start working with first IPython console, and thereafter we'll work with particularly the left hand side window as well, right? So this left hand side window is an editor window of Python. This is where you write the code, edit it, and check execute it again. And the left hand side window, sorry, right hand side window is like console, the main you can say prompt of Python, where you can see all the results, right? So we'll start with here. So whenever you want to start with Python, like the first command in Python is the print statement. You can use print. In bracket, you can pass the argument in single quote or double quote. Single quote and double quote both are same in Python. Hello world. You can also use double quote, print. Single quote and double quote both are same in Python, right? So make sure that, but it just, if you start with single quote, you have to end with single quote. If you start with double quote, end with double quote. That's the only point. Okay. So you can print anything, right? That's the simple point. Okay, now how to define variable? So you don't use semicolon in Python. No need for semicolon in Python. That's one important part. Now, when you want to define a variable in Python, it's like in other programming language, you need to also write int x equal to this, int y equal to this. In Python, no need like that. You can directly blindly go ahead and declare variable x equals to 5 or y equals to 6.5. So you can see in variable explorer, it is storing x as integer and y is float, automatically understanding what is the data type. So we know to declare the data type in Python. It will automatically understand that x is integer and y is float, and the value of it and the size of it in bytes. Then z equals to like I can define as something like hello world. So it will automatically create, you can see the z as string, right? You can see here z, it has understood z as string, right? It will automatically understand the variable. You know to do that. We can also print a variable as well. So print x we can do. We can also print multiple variables altogether. On the console, if you want to get the earlier command, you can just press the up arrow. Make sure you are also trying it out when I'm trying it out. Right. So x comma y comma z, you can
I lost in
pass multiple.
so can you please explain?
Your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking.
Internet. Yeah,
Am I audible?
because of internet problem, I am facing some internet.
Yeah. You told me in beginning. Am I audible to you? Can you put that in chat box? Because your voice is breaking, sir. Right. The point is what you see: x equal to 5, y equal to 6.5, z equal to hello world. Right. Now this is where you can say that whenever you declare the variables, you can simply go ahead and declare the variables. No need to worry about the data type of it. Right. And the Python automatically understands the data type and the size of 1 byte or something like that, whatever it is. Okay. And you can simply print also, you can print string, and you can also print the value of data type, and that you can also pass multiple things into a print statement separated by comma. So print xyz altogether. You can also print xyz, and here you can directly pass a string like this and print that as well. So in a print bracket, you can actually pass multiple attributes separated by comma. Right. That's the important point. Now, whenever you have declared a variable and you want to look at the type of variable, let us say you don't want to go ahead for variable explorer and still you want to see the type of variable, so you can use the function called type of x will tell you the data type of x is integer. Similarly, type of y will tell you data type of y float. Now what if I do z equal to x plus y, right? Now x is an integer and y is a float, and I'm trying to add them up. So Python will do that job. It will not show you error that you cannot add an integer and a float, not like that. It understands that part and it automatically does. But what will be the data type of output? That could be a question. X is integer, y is float. If I'm adding both of them, what will be the data type of z? So z will be also float, right? So you can say that float works on the top of integer, and string works on the top of float also, right? So type of z will be, you can see z is float now, right? Okay. So the type of z, if you check, so it has been overwritten. Now let's say that z value of z is what? If I write z only, it will show me value of z is 11.5. If I write z equal to something like Anshu, now that will override the existing value of z. And you can see currently z is float. In the variable explorer, you can see z is float. But if I write z equal to Anshu, it will overwrite it. It will make it string. So whenever you have defined some variable and you again initialize it, it will overwrite it. Okay. That's the basic idea. Now you see, like this, there are multiple rules, but we'll not go into that much deeper initially, because initially our objective is to cover the top part of Python. And once we know the overall part, we can dive deeper into such equations and all, right? So that's the idea so far. So these are the basic way of declaring the variables. Okay. And in every programming language, you see there are atomic data types like string, float, integer. This is something that they exist everywhere, right? These are called its atomic data types. They don't change with the change in programming language. String stays string, integer stays integer, and the float stays float. They don't change. Complex logic, true and false stays true and false, logical variable, right? 2i plus 5j is a complex variable. That shows as it is. What changes is some miscellaneous variable and data types. That changes. So there are three important data types to understand. There are actually four total data types, but we'll be focusing on three of them initially. So now I'm coming to left hand side. In Python, how do you write comment? So hash is a single line comment. I am a single line comment. For multi-line comment, you can use triple quotes open and triple quotes close. You can also use this triple quote open and triple close. These are both a multi-line comment. I am a multi-line comment. I am also, so both are multi-line comments, right? So any of them you can use. Okay, these are also used to store a paragraph into a particular variable. When you want to store a paragraph into a variable, you can also use triple quotes there, right? That is also something can be done. Okay, so now this is how you store multi-line comments and all. So let's say that now we're going to talk about the important data types in Python. So the three important data types we'll be talking about. One is list. The first option is list. Second is tuple, and third is dictionary. These are three important data types in Python, right? So we are talking about the first superhero, that is the first pillar in Python programming, right? These are the three important data types in Python to learn and to understand about. So we'll start with list, and then we'll go to tuples, and then we'll go to dictionary, and then we'll talk about it. What do we do in that, right? And the internal part of data types and all, right? So that way we'll be doing it up. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's how we'll be doing it up. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started then, everyone, right? And so here we go. All right, so now first we'll start with list, right? So I'll be starting here. So let's say that now how do you execute the program which you write on like left hand side? So there are two ways. One is what you can save the program. So I'm going to save the program somewhere. Let's say AI in McKinsey folder. I'm saving the program with the name code1. Let us say that not here. I'm going to save to my ML folder with the name test code 3, and I can go say after saving I can go here and click on the run button, or if I let's say that if I write x equal to 5 and print x, and I'm going to go to click on run button, and this will be printed. Whatever you print you write, that only will be shown, right? It will not be showing something else as well. Let's say that y equals to 78 and z equals to something like uh, so whenever you run the program, whatever you call into print statement, only that will be shown to you, right? That is what will be the output of program, because whatever the print statement is there, that's the output of program, right? Another way of executing any program is what you can do something like, I mean, another way of executing from left hand side is what you can do something like x equal to 78, like this. Now you can select this. After selecting, you can press Control Enter. Now when you press Control Enter, what will happen is this selected part will be sent to the console and it will be executed. Only that line is being executed. So select it and press Control plus Enter. So this is how you can do line by line execution, and this is the very popular and handy way of doing this. You can select a line and press Control plus Enter, and easily you can do the line by line execution, which is the one of the easiest way to execute. And I'll be using this way. So make sure that when I'm executing something, you see, if I write x equal to 78, if I select it and press Control plus Enter, right? Let's say that I want to see the value of x. I can select this, press Control plus Enter. I'll be able to see value of x 78. But if I run the program, I'll not be able to see that. Why? Because I'm not printing it. Whenever you run it, whatever you print inside your program, only that will be shown. Here when I select this and press Control plus Enter, this program is not getting executed on left hand side. It is just sending that line on the console, and only that line is being executed like that. Okay. So that's the point. Well, it will be much more clear when you try it out once. Right? So you declare some variable x equal to 90 and execute, select it, Control Enter, and write x and select it, Control Enter, and you can see the value of x it shows. So let's go ahead and start with the idea of list. What exactly are lists? So lists are simply collection of element of different data types. Right? That's a list. Any simple collection of element. Lists are always defined using square bracket. Lists are defined using square brackets. All right. So let's say that if I have to define a list, I can simply add, there is no syntax for defining list, right? For converting something into list, there is a syntax, but for defining list, there is no syntax. Okay, so I can define a list x equal to, within a square bracket, I can put anything 4, 5, 2.5, high. So list can carry elements of multiple data types. Okay, list accept everything, right? So they are seculars. Okay, so I can simply execute it. How do I do that? I select this and press Control plus Enter. It is executed. That's my list. So if I want to print X, I can do something like this, and I can print the list, and I can see this. That's my list. Okay. So how do you define a list? Is use square bracket. So whenever you see multiple elements are defined inside a square bracket, it's a list. And there you can simply have the multiple elements. Now when you put multiple elements, the 4 is as integer only, 5 is integer, 2.5 is float, and high is a particular string, right? So that elements exist in their own data types, they don't change. Okay, I hope I'm clear with this. All right, now next part is like particularly let's go ahead further, right? So now first we'll be looking at how to index elements of lists. That's simple. Index in the sense, how do you extract or how do you call the elements of the list and get the value? That's the part of it, right? So how do you do that? So here you get to learn the very first and the one of the very important rule in Python, that in Python a lot of people make mistake here maybe, right? So did initially a lot of mistakes in this point, right? So it was like it's like the rule says that in Python the counting always starts from 0. The counting by default starts from 0, and it does not includes upper bound. Now what exactly is the meaning of that, we'll be looking into. So first let us say that we wish to also get the length of elements, how many elements in the list. Let's to get the count of elements, that is length of list, you can use the function len of x, right? So len of x will give you the number of element inside x. So it says that okay, 5 elements are there inside x, right? And then now let's start to talk about indexing of elements. So if there are 5 elements, so there is no fifth element. The indexing always starts from 0. So if I write x of 0, so x of 0 is what? 4. The first element is 4. So counting always starts from 0. X of 1, so if I look at x of 1, x of 1 is 5. X of 2, x of 2 is 2.5. X of 3 will be the next element, high. And x of 4 will be the last element, 45.23. So there are total 5 elements, but there is no fifth element, right? So that shows what in Python the counting always starts from 0, and there is only last element is only n minus 1 element, right? N minus 1th element you can say, right? So if there are n samples, n elements, you can indexing, you will only go to n minus 1. Okay, I hope I'm making sense with the logic. You see, if there are n samples, sorry, n elements, then you will have only n minus 1th element. So indexing will go up to only n minus 1, because indexing is starting from 0. If you're starting from 0, you will not go up to n, you will be able to reach up to n minus 1, right? For example, if you talk about in 2-bit if 2-bit binary value you have, you can have 4 samples, but the value start from 0, 1, 2, and 3, like that. If that is a good example, I don't think like that. So your logic is clear. X of how do you extract a single element inside a list, right? So this is how you access the element of the list. Let me know if you have any question in this. Now in case you want to access multiple elements, how to access? multiple elements, that's also very simple. In that you can simply go ahead and do something like particularly uh, I mean, let's say that I want to get first two elements, right? I can do something like 0 colon 2. So when you write 0 colon 2, it will start from 0 and end up to 2, right? So 0th element, first element, not the second element. Upper bound is never included. So when you write 0 colon 2, 0 is the lower bound and 2 is the upper bound. So it will start from lower bound 0, 1 and never go to 2 because 2 is the upper bound. So you will get 0th element, that is 4, and the first element, that is 5, but not the second element, right? So here you will get two elements. If your x is this, let's say that x is this, so when you write 0 colon 2, so you will get only 0th element and the first element, not the second element. Second element you will not get, right? Similarly, if I write x of 1 colon 4, so let's say that 1 colon 3, so I will, or let's say that I write 1 colon 4, right? Now in this case I'll get first element, second element, third element, but I'll not get fourth element, right? So Python never includes upper bound. The rule says what? It starts from 0, but it never includes upper bound. The upper bound which you mentioned is never included, right? So x of 1 colon 4 will show you first element, that is 5, because 0th is 4, second is 2.5, and third is high, but fourth will not show. That's the important point. Right? So I hope this is also called a slicing of list, right? So this is also called a slicing of list. Okay. What if you try to access x of 5, right? So in Python programming, x of 5 will be nothing, index out of range. If on other than this, if you would be using R programming, R is also a very popular programming language. In that, x of 5 will show 0 if first element does not exist. So that's a little different programming language, right? So this is the basic idea of indexing of elements. Now, one important part that in Python, what is unique in Python is Python also supports negative indexing. Now that's the unique part in Python, which is not there in many of the programming languages. Negative indexing means what? If this is your x, so indexing, how do you always start is, you always start from left hand side. You start counting 0th and element, first element, second element from left hand side. You never start from right hand side, right? That's where you do injustice with right direction. But Python never does that. Python is very equal in both the direction, right? So in Python, you can start with negative indexing from right hand side. So if you write x of -1, it will mention the last element, which is 45.23. X of -2 will last to second element high. X of -3, you can get the last to third element, like that. And you can come to x of -4, x of -5, like that, right? You can keep on coming from last. So from 0 you start with left hand side, and -1 you start with right hand side. So Python supports negative indexing as well, right? So -1 is something, -1th element, -2nd element, -3rd element, like that. So whenever you want to access last element, what we do in general other programming languages, if I have to access the last element of list, we first find out the length of list, and then we access that x element, like that, right? So that's the how we go in a longer way. But in Python you have a shorter way. If you want to access the last element, x of -1 is always the last element. Now this makes a very much, this helps a lot whenever you are collecting some real-time data. Let us say that I'm collecting some real-time data which is from a sensor or anywhere, log data of some data server, any particular example. Now in that, you never know how many samples are collected, and whenever you want to access the most recent sample, probably at that time you will have to run two executions. One of the execution is collecting the length of the sample list and accessing that lth element, like that, you can say nth element. But here you don't need to do that. Directly access x of -1, and you will get always the most recent value when you're collecting time series data, right? It could be sensor value, it could be the server log, it could be error log, anything. It could be the list of tickets whenever you want to access the most recent ticket, like that. In many of the examples, you can, it becomes very easy with Python because of this negative indexing, right? So now next point is indexing, which we are done with, right? So now next point, we can talk about the customization with the list, which is the last point about list, and we are done with the list. Customization in the list. Now here you may have a couple of questions. Customization in the sense, let us say that x is my list, right? Now in which I want to change some value. let us say that first value is 4, I want to make it 10, right? So you can customize anything in list. So how do I do that is x of 0, which is what, 4. So I can do something x of 0 I want to change to 10. Simple. Access the element and assign a new value, right? If I do this, you can see here it's changed, and if I now get the value of x, first element is changed to x, sorry, 10, right? I hope I'm clear. If you want to try this much, you can try out this much. Okay, let me know if you have any question. If you're trying out this much, you can try it out and have questions, because it is also important that you keep on trying meanwhile as well. I hope I'm clear with this. Let me know if you have any question on this so far.
It says print is not defined. I don't know why.
Is it?
Yeah, man.
It's P
I
small,
just
right? Everything is small. P small, right? Print
no.
like, no, that might be the issue. That might be the issue. P small. In Python, generally everything is small. Nothing is capital. Some packages may have some capital name, but basic commands in Python, everything is small.
Done, done, done. Done.
Everything is all good. List.
Yeah. List.
Just a moment. Right. So great then. Right. So now customization. This is how you do customization into the list, right? So if I want to simply print the value of x, so it's changed out. Right? Now similarly, I can change any value. Now the question is, let us say that what if you want to add a new element into the list, right? How do you do that? Right? So for that you can if you write x and dot, you see automatically a list of functions are opening. X dot means what? On x, what operation you want to do. So I get a function like append, clear, copy, count. If you don't get after pressing dot, you can press a tab button also. If you're not getting the options, generally you will get that. But if you're not, and this will not work out until unless you're not defined x. You see, I have executed x. So to my environment, x is stored, right? So until unless x is stored in your environment, it will not show the options, right? So if you keep on writing the program and you have not executed the earlier lines, for example, let's say that if I define list y equal to something, let's say that y is my list, in which y equal to 4 comma 5 comma 8.0, right? Now if I write y dot, it shows, but generally it will not, it may not show. Here it shows, it's betraying me, right? So generally it will not show. So you have to execute y equal to something. Okay, y is defined, integer is they define. Let's say that I define something like k equals to. So if I write k dot, oh well, it shows. But generally, sometimes most of the times it doesn't show. Right? It's showing mercy on me. Okay, so yeah, that's point, right? So let me make up something like y, right? So x dot, if we write x dot, you can see here it shows multiple options over here: append, clear, copy. Now these are the multiple operations which you can apply on list, right? So whenever I want to add an element into list, I can use x dot append. So let us say that I wish to add 12. Now whenever I execute this, so you can see here, if I print the value of x, so 12 is added to the last part of the list. So at the end of the list, whenever you append something, that element will be added to the end of the list, right? So what you can do is, let us say that you're collecting some real-time sensor data for somewhere, or log data or something like that. So you create an empty list and you keep on appending the data into that. So in a list, data will be stored like that, right? You can receive the data by any protocol, HTTP, MQTT, any other protocol you can use, any network protocol, TCP, UDP socket, any socket you use, keep on collecting data, and keep on logging into a list. Once our list becomes, let's say that a sample of 10,000 stored into Excel sheet, create a new list. Like that, you can program it, right? So append is used to add an element into the end of the list, at the end of the
And so how
list.
to append multiple?
Multiple, I am not sure here, so we can part something like this,
It will not work. It will
but
not work. It will not work. I tried.
it
It will
doesn't
not
work.
work.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So you can have only one element. In case you want to append multiple elements, what you can do is you can define a list over here, right? So, but again, that will be added as element, so you can only have only one value, right? That's the point. Because if you write multiple elements, it will be, so you need to run a for loop then, for loop or while loop. Inside that, you can append multiple elements one by one, or you can call x.append as many times as you want, because as many times as you call it, it will work out, right? So if x.append will add 15 also. So you need to call it in a for and while loop. Like that, you can do it. Okay. Other than that, you can also create multiple lists. You can also add two lists as well. So we'll look into that as well. Right. As of now, append does only one function. Well, I was a little doubtful with that. Thank you for making me clear. So append always adds the element at the end of the list. What if in case you want to add at a certain value in between, right? So let's say that sometimes you are doing some, let's talk about a scenario wherein you are logging the data and sometimes some wrong data is logged, and now you want to edit that. So there you can use the insert function. So insert is like you can mention the date or time wherever it is. So on that index, right? So let's that fifth element or fourth element I want to change there. At fourth element I want to add something more, right? It will not replace the fourth element. For replacement, you have this option. This will always replace it. Insert will not replace, it will simply insert in between. So on the fourth location, I want to add something like, let us say that hello. On fourth location, I want to add hello, right? So if I insert this, so now hello will not be added to end of the list, rather it will be added in between at fourth location. So zeroth location 10, first location 5, second location 2, third location hi, and fourth location is hello, right? That's how it works out. Okay. Similarly, you have multiple other options over here. You can see clear is to remove all the elements, copy is to copy it, count is to count the number of element, not the number of element, count how many times a certain element has come up. So let's say that I want to see that how many times the temperature was 12 or something like that. Right? So I can do x dot count. So it will tell me that yes, count 12 has occurred 2 times, 2.5 has occurred 1 time, like that. So you can count the frequency. With the count function, you can count the frequency. Similarly, you have something like extend. If you want to extend a list to another value, so let us say that I have a list called y. Okay, so I want to extend x with y. Right? So I can add y at the end of the x. Right. So y is my another list. You can say 4, 5, 8.0. So extend is there. So if I look at the value of x, you can see that 4, 5, and 8.0 is added to the end of the list. So that's how you can also extend one list with another list like that. Then you have
Yep.
something like, sorry, pop,
And so
remove, reverse. Yeah. Sorry. Yep.
uh, yeah, so the way you have inserted, can we override something which has been inserted already in the list?
Yeah, yeah, we can override something like you can use the line number 39 if you know the index of it wherever you want to override. So you can use line number 39 to override it, right? X of 0 I'm mentioning as 10.
Mm,
X of, you want to override only one value or multiple values? In case you want to override multiple values, that also you can
no,
do.
multiple, multiple values, how to do?
Okay, multiple values. Let's say that first three
Multiple
values I want to
values,
override.
multiple.
So 0 colon 3 equal to, like I can pass here three values, right? So 0 colon 3 means 0th, first and second value. So let's say that I want to override that with
No, no.
45, 78, 89, like that. This is how I can override it. Now if I check the value of x, so three of them are changed, initial three values. Or you can override in between as well.
Can you check
Just by indexing it can be easily done.
how in between? Can you explain?
Index in between, let's say
Like
that
I have
you just
given.
colon 6. So fourth and fifth element can be shifted to something like hi, or let's say that Python, comma world. It's a fourth and fifth
Can you
element.
can you
Like,
check this message I have sent?
yeah. Okay. You have sent me a message, right? I'm facing internet
Zero.
problem. Is that a message?
No, no,
Something else.
no. Zero, third, and fifth. To you personally,
Okay.
private.
Okay. Okay. No, I am not seeing actually any message. Last message is like I'm actually facing internet problem. That's the last message from you. The message I could receive.
I don't know. I have sent to Ashish Pandey,
Okay, you want to change?
organizer presenter. Okay.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I want to change zero, third, and fifth.
Zeroth, first, and something else, right? Altogether.
Zero,
You have very
zero,
bad
three, and
internet
five.
problem. Okay, 0, 3, and 5.
Zero, three, and
Okay.
yep.
I got your point. Your point is something that you don't want to change serially. You want to change multiple elements, but like extracting and altogether like that, right? I hope that's your question. Right. So let me
Correct.
try it out. I'm not sure.
Correct.
0, 3, 5 equals to something like this, or no, I'm not sure. But let me check if I can access these three elements. No, no. List must indices between integers or slices, not triple. Right. All right. Okay. So you can do something like that. X of 0, comma, x of 1 or 3, comma, x of 5 equals to 14, 15, comma, 78, comma, 43. This way you can do it. That's
Comma,
one way of doing it.
comma.
Comma, yeah, x of 3, comma.
You miss comma.
Yeah. So this is one way of doing it. And if after this, check this. So change those limits, or 0th and 3rd and 5th element is changed. So this is one way of doing that, and that there might be another way as well. Probably I might not know about it. Right? So this is one way of doing that easily. Like this is the one way.
Because
Okay.
this looks pretty lengthy.
Yeah, this looks lengthy. I agree. Right? Something where you can put some indexes and you can get some value. Probably that would look something better. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so now you can also remove the elements. X dot remove, I want to remove any particular element, right? So uh, uh, let's say that I want to remove out of this 89, wherever first time 89 has occurred, it will remove that. So remove 89. Now if you check, there is no 89. No, what if that two occurrences? What if that I want to remove 78? Which 78 will be removed? So first 78 will be removed, second will not be removed, right? That's the point, right? So and then if you want to remove second, you also have some other attributes over here. So if you look at this, x dot remove, so you can see here you can pass the value, and that you can also pass the index as well. Well, in remove you don't have on the other one you can do the popping or something like that, right? That can also be done. There's also a pop function. Pop function also does a similar job, not the same job, but similar job. So if you do x dot remove now, you'll not get some output, right? It will be simply removing it, but x dot pop will take it from the list and give it to you. For example, let's say that if I do something x dot remove f equals to x dot remove 78, right? If I do something, so f what it should do now, what we are expecting is I'm expecting that it should remove 78 from x and it should store 78 into f, but it will not do the job. It will simply remove the 78, but f will be nothing here. If you check the value of f is nothing. So that's the remove part. It simply does the only single job. It does not return anything. The function never returns anything. Whereas there is another function x dot pop. Now pop does what? Pop will remove 78 and it will also store, let's say 12. Pop will remove 12 from x, right? And it will also store 12 in this. Or let's say that not 12, I want to remove something like, because 12 is 2 times 43. So we'll remove 43 from x and it will also store 43 in f. Okay. Here you need to mention the index actually, right? So you can mention something like 0th, first, and second, and third, and fourth, and fifth value. Right? So I want to remove fifth value and store into x. Right? So if I look at the value of x, so here you can see that fifth value is gone, which was early. What was it? 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, fourth, and fifth value was 12. Right? So only 112 might be left. Only 112 is left, and the value of f is 12. Right? So pop does remove that index element and puts it into uh, f. That's the idea. And remove simply removes a certain element. So in remove you pass the value of element, in pop you pass the index of element.
Okay, Anshu, now I have one doubt. How
Sorry, I didn't get you. I didn't get you.
How about removing multiple
How to remove multiple elements? Is that your question? That's a good question, actually. Uh, uh,
elements from the list at a single
so
time?
for that, you do x dot pop and
How about
particularly,
elements?
right? So you can
I don't want
actually
to
put
store it
here.
somewhere. I just want to remove it.
So you don't store it now. You don't write anything up before x dot pop. You simply write x dot pop. So it will not store somewhere. It will simply remove it, right? So you let's say that I want to remove something like first and second both element, right? So I can pass 1, 2, right? So both will be popped out. Uh, list object cannot be input as integer. Well,
You,
that's
you,
the
you have to write that colon.
uh,
You have to write the colon between 1 and 2.
colon. Is it? No, I don't think
Yeah,
so. Is it?
try it out. That's what I'm expecting it to be done.
Okay.
No, no, this you have used this in semicolon.
Okay,
Use
okay, got
colon.
it. All right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, okay. Slicing method. I don't think it will accept that way. Probably it seems it accepts only one element, right? So let me check with that. No, popping is, but it shows a list, so it should accept it. Well, might be, might not be. Okay, so probably you can. I mean, as at this point in time, it accepts only one value, so you can pass it into. You can call it multiple times then, right? Using a for loop.
Is there is there something like condition which we can put
Yeah,
like where
yeah,
my
we can do
index is
that. Okay, yeah, we'll be working with if else and for. There we can use that. I mean, those if else structure and for structure, we can use it to iterate it multiple times and like put some conditions and then remove it. Something like that we can do.
okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Hmm. Yeah, so there will be doing something more about it. Right. So that's all about list part. So this is how we can do all the manipulation in list. Right. So now we'll go ahead and talk about tuple or tuple. I actually means the real pronunciation is tuple, but I call it tuple sometimes. It's wrong thing. Right. So tuple, right? So we'll see tuple. So tuple is something is lists are defined using square brackets and tuples are defined using parentheses. A parenthesis is what you can define something like d equals to 4 comma 5 comma 8.0 comma something like high. Right, that's tuple. So tuple also accepts elements of multiple data types. Like list, they also accept elements of multiple data types. If I look at type of x, so x was what list, right? So it will show you the type of x as list. But type of D, so type of D will be, it will show you tuple. It's a tuple. So whenever you define multiple set of elements into a parenthesis, it's a tuple, right? The way you can do indexing in list, you can also do in tuple as well. D of 0, 4, D of 2, 8.0, D of 1, 5, like that you can get. You can also do negative indexing in tuple. D of -1 will show you high, D of -2 will show you 8.0. You can also do slicing in tuple as well, like list 1 colon 3, right? So you'll get first value and second value, right? So like you this, right? So you can do some. I mean, you can get zeroth and third value like that, 0 colon 2, right? So you can do the same way. Tuples are defined using parentheses, lists are defined using square brackets. Now you might have a question: why do we need tuple when it has multiple properties of list? So what you cannot do with tuple, which you can do with list, is the customization part. Tuples does not accept any kind of customization. Once they are declared, they don't accept any customization into them. For example, this is my D. If I want to change D of 0 to 40, 58, I cannot do any changes into tuple. No changes. I cannot even write something d dot append. I won't get the d dot append. You can only count and index. So once the tuple is defined, you cannot make any changes to that. You can only count some element. You can do some indexing. You can only look d dot count how many times this has come up. So here you're not making changes to that. You're just looking at how many times 5 has come. So 5 has come one time. You can only see where is 5 index. So you can see that 5 is at first location. Sorry, index is a function, right? It will show 5 as on first location, but you cannot make any changes to that. Once tuple is declared, you cannot customize that. Tuples are immutable. This property of tuple is called as tuples are immutable. Tuples are immutable, whereas lists are mutable. Now you might have a question, why do we need this? What is the benefit of this? The immutability property of tuples makes it processed faster than lists. Tuples are processed faster than lists, right? So whenever you don't have to do any customization, you want to just particularly declare it and have the data and process it. So if you don't want to make any customization, you should prefer tuples. Tuples get processed faster than list. And second part is, if you don't want, while any process, if you don't want your data to be manipulated, you can declare them in tuples, right? So that's a part of tuple, right? So it's more than, I mean, it's both are ordered data, list and tuple both are ordered. Yeah.
The immutable property of tuple makes it processed faster. How it is possible if the list is having same number of values for same number of data type, and tuple is having same number of values of same number of data type, same type of data types, then
Yes.
how it will make it processed faster?
Because you see,
Just
once
wanted
you're
to know.
declaring the list, now for the processing of list will, let's say that there is a program of 100 lines, right? And in first line you're defining a list, and second line you're defining a tuple, right? So once you declare a
Mm.
list, the whole program will be checked for any updation into the list, whereas once you define a tuple, it will not be checking any other program, I mean whole program, it will be just going that after declaration. So it will be just processed
Even
quickly.
even even if I'm not updating anything in that list, will it check for the updation of the list?
Yes, yes, it will check, yes, it will check further, because that's possibility of a list can be customized.
Mm-hmm.
That's how processing
Okay,
becomes clear.
I
Okay,
got it.
so that's the idea. Okay, now third is dictionary. Third is dictionary. So dictionary is much like English dictionary. It's much like English dictionary. You have a word and the meaning of it, right? So that's the idea. Now you see lists are defined using square bracket, tuple using parenthesis, and the left bracket is the curly bracket, and that's reserved for dictionaries. So let's say that list are dictionaries like this. And here you can have a key and a value. So let's say that name, I can define name as my key and Anshu as my value, comma, something like, let's say that city is my key and Surat is my value, comma, age as key and 18 is my value, like that. Right? So I can define like this, right? So the key can be anything integer, it could be it could be integer, it could be a letter, a character, it could be a small case, the uppercase, but key cannot be repeated in a dictionary. Key cannot be repeated, whereas a particular value can be repeated as many times. A value can be a list, it can be anything. You can also use a list inside a dictionary, a tuple inside a dictionary as a value of a particular key, right? You can use temperature, you
Anshu,
can also use, yeah,
you are 18 years old. Eh?
yeah, I'm inside in 18 years only. Okay, so 45 comma 46, like that I can use, right? So like that, you see. So value could be anything. Now how do you access this, right? So you can access
Well,
this by, you can call something like name, like this. So name is Anshu, and you can call something like city, right? So I don't even have beard, no, I am so young, right? And now you see, important part is, like if you look at this dictionary, right? So you see the keys are not as it is as you defined them, they are changed. Age has come first, then city, so the keys are alphabetically arranged. The keys have been alphabetically arranged. So dictionary is what, always alphabetical, so the keys will automatically get arranged alphabetical manner according to the value of key. So dictionary is considered as an unordered data type. You never know where is what, like you cannot index them with zeros, one and second, like that. You always get a key with the by sorry, a value by calling it a key, right? So you can get something like s of temperature, right? Dictionaries can be appended, you can append a dictionary. So let's say that I want to add a new value, that s of status equals to unmarried, right? So that's where I can add it, and you can look at s. So it's added that as well, right? So that's how you can append multiple keys and values into a dictionary, right? You can also define a dictionary in this way as well. Let's say that I can define a dictionary as g equals to uh, a, a particularly ticked off, and I can define it in this manner. Let's say that uh, x equals to 45, comma y equals to 78, comma age equals to 44, like that. So I can define it that manner, and I can act that way. So now if I look at G, it's a dictionary. So if you can also use type of S, and it will be dictionary. Type is the syntax to get the data type of it. Right, so that's also dict is also kind of function, which is where you can use it. You can also convert a list into tuple as well, right? So for that you can use the function called tuple. That's also a function. We'll be looking at those functions. Just so now you can ignore this part. This part you can ignore.
Anshu, I have one doubt, small doubt.
Hmm. Yeah,
Like
Tim.
you have given the function g is equals to dict, x is equals to 45, y is equals to 78, 8, age is equals to 44, right? Can you give
Yeah,
temp is equals to the list,
yeah.
comma
You can
temp
do that.
and
Yes,
and
yes.
and, and cities? Like,
So equals to
is it
something
possible?
like yeah. Sorry.
Like, is it possible? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. It's possible. You can give tuple and uh, like that. You can give
And
multiple stuff going. Like that, list will be created. You're cracking up, sir. You're cracking. Can you repeat again? Can you repeat again?
okay,
Can
okay,
you
I
repeat?
got it.
You got it? Okay, great. That's great. So that's all
No,
about
no, I got
dictionaries
it. I
and
got it.
list.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so that's all about the data types today, right? So today we are done with this first superhero in Python. That's the first pillar of Python. That's the data types in Python, right? So tomorrow we'll be looking into the control structure, if, else, for, and while in Python, and we'll be doing some examples and some program with that. And tomorrow we'll also be doing some assignment with that, right? And then we'll be going ahead further. Okay, so tomorrow we'll be learning the control structure and then like functions as well. In fact, tomorrow we'll be doing almost 2 pillars, and day after tomorrow we'll be doing third, and some other miscellaneous packages we'll be looking. So in 3 days we'll try to finish the Python, or in fact if it takes time we'll take 4 days as well, right? So accordingly, right? So today we'll be ending up here then, right? Yeah, I'm saying that we'll be ending up here, and uh, yeah, uh, we are done. We are today. Thank you everyone, and bye bye. Good night. Right then, good night. Bye bye. Yeah, I'll send the recordings. I'll send the recording of the session.